one sort of anecdotal story that I always like to tell people is a conversation I had with somebody from Samsung Electronics in Mexico City. It's a gentleman who is in charge of supply chain. And he was telling me, they're looking to doing silver offtake agreements with the miners directly. Because they didn't want to be in a situation where they wake up one day and they can't launch their new tablet because they couldn't get enough silver.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Kientz of GoldSilverPros.com. We're at day 2 of the Silver Symposium here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I have a very special guest that has joined me here at the booth to talk about Reyna Silver. It's Jorge. Jorge, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent.
Good to see you.
Great to be here. Great to see everybody.
Yeah. So, first conference we've been at in a while. We're all talking about maybe the first one in a couple of years.
Yes.
Great to be back talking with people.
No, it's amazing. I really, it's been so hard to be not to be able to be together. I mean, meeting people that you've met only through Zoom.
Yes.
Meeting them in person. It's not a realistic way to do business just by Zoom. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
So it's great to be here. It's been a great conference. Great speakers. Great to meet our peers as well. Really exciting to see so many silver companies exploring after so many years of having no funds for exploration. So it does feel like a very exciting time. One of the things that I've enjoyed the most about the conference is meeting some of the other companies and seeing the great work they're doing as well.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the companies are complementary of each other. I think part of it's just being happy getting back together, in an industry type of event, but also realizing that we need silver. We all need to work together to get there, so everybody's sort of on that same page.
Oh, and the other thing is interesting to meet so many U.S. investors who are so passionate about silver.
Yes.
Amazing.
I don't
think you have that anywhere else in the world.
I don't think so. I think silver's the thing. Of course, we had Wall Street Silver at the beginning of the year, and it generated a lot of interest. We're seeing a lot of the younger folks come in. I'm talking to people that are in their 20s. Yeah. They're like, I want to get in silver. I'm selling my Bitcoin, take profits. I want to get in silver, and I came here to talk to companies. Yeah. And it's been great to see. I mean, we haven't seen that level of investor interest probably in years that I can remember.
Especially from the younger crowd, I agree. And that whole Wall Street silver movement. It's very interesting. And really great to see a younger generation take an interest on the metals. Great to see them also have an understanding of, the macro context and how important and how rare silver is.
Yes.
What an important role exploration companies play in making sure that we have a silver supply in the future.
Yeah, and we're, for the first time this year, I think going to be first time in a couple of years, going to be in a silver deficit, according to Metals Focus and Silver Institute. Over 1 billion ounces demanded, mostly industrial, some investment, but less than 1 billion ounces produced. So talk to us about how important it is to start securing our silver supplies now that we're going to need for industry in 4 or 5 years, because doesn't it take 4 to 5 years to get a mine up and running?
If you're lucky. Yeah. If you're lucky, look at a company like Mag Silver. It really was 18 years before they were able to go into production. It is getting harder and harder. Number one, to find the deposits. Number two, to permit them. And there isn't. It's not unique to silver. Every commodity has this challenge. But for silver specifically, during that bear market that we had, basically for the better part of the last decade, gold was struggling along, but it didn't have enough of a margin that people kept doing exploration. For silver, the silver producers were really, it was all about survival, high grading their deposits, hardly any money for exploration. So, you have seen companies like First Majestic having to buy a gold project. You've seen Fortuna Silver buy Rox Gold, which is went from being one of the bigger silver producers to now be, have a heavy weight towards gold. And the reason they're doing that is because they're simply not advanced projects that they can acquire. It is as simple as that. Those projects just do not exist. Yeah. So really what we're doing as exploration companies for silver is looking for the project that really has the potential for being the next 100 million plus high-grade silver mine that that can address this coming deficit in silver. I believe that deficit is already here, and it's probably here for a few years. As you know, silver is a very obscure metal because so much of it comes as a byproduct of base metals and even gold. So it's not the supply demand is not so easy to track.
Right.
But just from being in the industry and studying the subject for many years, no doubt that we are been in a, if not a deficit, close to that for the better part of a decade. So going back to your question about what the industry is concerned about supply over the next few years, one sort of anecdotal story that I always like to tell people is a conversation I had with somebody from Samsung Electronics in Mexico City. It's a gentleman who is in charge of supply chain. And he was telling me, they were looking to doing silver offtake agreements with the miners directly, because they didn't want to be in a situation where they wake up one day and they can't launch their new tablet because they couldn't get enough silver.
Right.
You can see one of the companies that's here, Reyna Silver, did an offtake agreement with Samsung Electronics. It was a prepayment of silver. So that is something that certainly to watch, because could be a major trigger for silver. We've already seen it with platinum.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's definitely exciting times ahead. I understand it's days like today where silver is down makes all of us nervous, but I think it's just a matter of staying focused and understanding there's basically everything in favor of silver. From monetary policy, debt, increase in industrial demand,
right,
and then on the mining side, not enough supply.
And I think one of the reasons we don't see that launch in the price of silver is that you and I are involved in this industry. We look at it every day. We know, but we're in the minority. Most of the financial interests, the hedge fund traders, stuff like that, and even a lot of the big banks, they don't understand the dynamics of the silver market. So it won't become apparent to them until we have some sort of crisis where people aren't able to get silver. Correct. And it causes supply shortages. Then all of a sudden you're going to see that silver price pop very quickly. But the work to be done to get the silver has to start years before that to supply it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, and frankly speaking, that's the case for every metal.
Yeah.
And I've never, in the years that I've been in the industry, I've never been in a situation where you could look at metal after metal, and almost all of them, let's say you look 2-3 years ahead, you look at current supply versus expected demand, and most of them you can see a deficit somewhere.
Yes.
So great time to be in commodities, but out of all the commodities, silver has so many positives. We're talking about supply, demand, but what about inflation?
Yes, government money printing.
Correct. What about government money printing?
Yeah.
So it's certainly an exciting metal.
Sure.
And we're very excited to be able to to have funding to explore. We're exploring 4 historic districts that at one time were very big high grade silver mines, and then but essentially have never been explored with modern methods.
And that's the work that you have to do, because a lot of the silver is going to come from older mines. Correct. Maybe were mined when it was over a kilo available on the ground. You get with a pickaxe. Exactly. Maybe those mines stopped producing when silver crashed, or especially in Mexico, like you had the Civil War, you had the Depression, whatever, and they never came back. And then companies went to higher and higher grade projects because they were available. Yeah. Now what we're seeing is a little bit of a shift in Peru and Mexico especially, where you're going back, and even in the United States and Nevada, going back to old mines with modern mining techniques and saying, we don't have to have a kilo of silver, but if we have several hundred grams per ton, we're good there, and we can make a lot of money. Yeah. And talk about what you guys are doing with respect to your project in relation to MAG. There's a great story there. What I always talk about with Reyna, I talk about the story with MAG. So let's lead off with that. Yep. Talk about that potential for that project.
Absolutely. We have 2 main projects, Gigi and Batopilas. Both of them we acquired from MAG during the down cycle, where really there was hardly any interest in silver. MAG was very focused on taking their main project into production. So Peter Magal, who's one of the founders of MAG Silver, encouraged us to take those projects into a new company. We put enough funding to really, for the first time, take a very concerted effort in exploring 2 major historic districts in Mexico. As part of the deal, MAG remains our shareholder, and Peter Magal is our chief technical advisor, committing to, roughly speaking, 15% of his time with us. But we also preserve the technical team that had worked on these projects for MAG, working full time for us. So we got an exceptional and very successful exploration team. At Gigi, we've done 12,000 meters, which we are, going to be releasing very, very soon.
Okay.
And then at Batopilas, which is, historically the highest grade silver mine in Mexico's history.
Yes.
Produced over 300 million ounces of silver at 1.5 kilos per ton. But it's also native silver. So it's silver that's not crystallized into the rock. It's silver that's essentially free milling. And
that's basically what that means for people who don't understand the mine process. Easier to get it out, less costs.
Exactly. You don't have to process it chemically.
Yeah.
You just put it into a mill, use some gravity, and straight to the smelter.
Okay.
And what's exciting about this district is, we started the first 10,000 meters, and on the second hole, we find a major 2.5 kilometer vein extension. And we cut 3 meters of 900 grams per ton silver equivalent, but with visible native silver veinlet that has about 10,000 grams per ton silver.
Oh my gosh.
And what Peter was explaining to me is, the old timers would change these veinlets, and then they open up into these ore chutes that can be as big as a meter. And when this mine was in production, it was a listed company in the New York Stock Exchange, and produced something like 40 million ounces at 20 kilos per ton silver. So, by far the highest grade silver mine in the history of Mexico. And what's incredible is 90% of the production came from just a 2-kilometer tunnel, which is, I think, less than 2% of the area. So, we control the whole district, 30 historic veins, so many targets to drill there. I'm just in the process of looking at adding a second drill rig, to increase the speed at which we drill. And, just a lot of exciting news in the months ahead.
That is great news. And I think when Reyna first started, it was always the exciting story. I met you a couple of years ago at Metals Investor Forum.
Correct.
Talked to Dr. Magal as well. Was super excited about it, but you guys didn't have drill results. Now you're about to have drill results.
Yeah.
Talk about what's going to happen to your company, because there's a lot of people that love your company from the story and Dr. Magal. But talk about what's going to happen when you guys start producing these drill results. You start putting your money where your mouth is, and you're showing, look, we have this resource.
No, exactly.
What's that going to do to Reyna's already a successful company?
Yeah, no, listen, the goal is to be able to establish both Gigi and Batopilas as potentially district scale projects.
Right.
And once we produce the results where people think that those ideas are now well fundamented with drill results.
Yes.
We should be orders of magnitude from where we're now.
And being a multi-project company always gives you better valuations when compared with peers that may be a single project company. I mean, that's just the way that the market values it.
Yeah,
right?
and the way we wanted to do it as well is, Peter and his team took many years to put these districts together. And, I don't know if you know this, but it's relatively hard to put a district together nowadays.
Yes.
A lot of that work takes years of negotiating. Sometimes you have to put 4, 5, 6 claims together. So I think that's also very unique. We have 3 major districts that we own 100% of.
Yeah.
And I think that's also quite unique.
So it's not only the short-term as you have, it could be long-tailed. You could be in there for a long time, right?
And I think that's one of the main things that I would say is, we have 3 projects that are very real. They're not. It's a combination of early stage, but brownfield again, because all 3 of our projects have had incredibly high historic production. So you're not going at it blind. And it's really now this first stage of drilling we're doing is really about showing size and potential,
scale.
And scale. And then after we do that, of course, we'll have to have quite a few more drill rigs.
Sure.
And then start moving into showing a resource. But this first pass is the main objective is to show size and potential.
I know you're going to have a lot of options, but I do want to ask: are you guys intend to build a mine, or do you think that you may sell the resource to someone?
It's too early to say.
Okay.
And, to be honest, a lot of that is dictated by the market.
Yes.
When you're in the back of a very strong market, it does give you the option to just take it all the way to production. As an exploration company, it's obviously always a very rough transition, because it's very different to be explorer from producer. But it's too early for us to worry about that. We really, our focus is now on exploring and and drilling. And when the time comes, we do have a very capable board. Our chairman is a former CEO of Hudbay Minerals. He's a mining engineer. He's put multiple mines into production. So we'll see.
Both methods, the key here, both methods create shareholder value. So if you're a shareholder of Reyna, you're going to be fine either way.
Exactly.
And so what makes the most sense for the shareholders, you guys will decide at the time.
And the one thing I'll say about that, I'm personally the largest single shareholder in the company, so I'm obviously I'm completely aligned with the shareholders, and we'll do whatever makes us all the most money.
Sure. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Reyna, for joining us at the conference. Look forward to talking to you more.
To see you again in person.
Absolutely.
And thank you for giving us the time.
Absolutely. All right, this has been Rob Kientz of GoldSilver Pros. Jorge, Reyna Silver will have more interviews following this one.